Welcome to the Friday Nights. I'm Jason Sandberg. Fellas, I had a fantastic week. I got this in the mail just the other day, Core
Nice.
Draft by Andy Smith. I'm
Cool.
looking forward to checking this out. You all know, you can see I've got a sweet spot for the Jambushima Conan run. So I'm always eager to find something that's maybe in that same wheelhouse. So I'll let you know what I think of it once I get a chance to read it. I did do some catch up. I revisited some '80s indie comics this past week.
Oh,
I
wow.
read the 2 issues of Paradox from Vortex Comics. You know, Craig, I think Vortex may have been a Canadian comic book publisher. I could be wrong.
Yep. Yeah, I
Um,
recognize the name,
yep,
the
good stuff.
imprint.
They did Yummy Fur and Black Kiss by Howard Chaykin and Mr. X as well.
Yeah.
So I this was very psychedelic. I enjoyed rereading that one, and then I finally had time to go through Alpha Core, and I huge fan of Chuck Dixon. I
Mhm.
loved Joe Bennett's run on Immortal Hulk. I wasn't too familiar with him before his Immortal Hulk run. This was fantastic. If you wish somebody could do a comic book in the style of a TV cop procedural, but still be
Right.
superheroes, check this out. Fantastic. My only criticism is the inking got really weak towards the end. I think it was a many hands inking on this to
Mhm.
finish it, but otherwise, I greatly dug this. I'm looking forward to Mike Barron's book coming from the Rippaverse soon. Um, Enjoyed Immortal Rising by Aaron, a guest on our show. Had a good time reading this. And I am busy at work on Jupiter issue 2. Jupiter issue 1 is still in demand on Fun My Comic and Indiegogo. Right now, I am into the layouts part of Jupiter 2. The backgrounds are essentially done. I am having a great time. I'm firing all cylinders. I'm looking forward to being able to share some work with you very soon.
Awesome.
Craig, tell me, did you get your car back?
Not yet. No, it's not. It's going to be until January, so it's sitting on the lot with about $2,000 worth of parts in it. So
Mm, yeah.
I'm driving a Toyota Rav4 from 2012 right now, but it's still going. So
Well, tell me you had some fun this week. What happened? What's going on
yeah.
in the comic book front?
So what's interesting again? I don't have any new pages because I can't spoil it for anyone who's backed Soul Tacker Rise 4. The last 8 pages I'm keeping private. You got to back the book to get it. It's a very big plot point. Not going to spoil it, but we've got 6 pages of line art left. So the final stretch of Rise issue 4 is coming. In the mail, I got Brent's joined us in the audience, and hail to Brent. I got this. Look at this, beautiful. And he sent me both books, gorgeous, nice and thick. Lots of reading ahead of me with that. And then that came with this. This got a really soft cover. I don't know. I really love. I love that. I got to figure out what paper he used for that. It's like a
Yeah.
silk satin. But yeah, just gorgeous. Barton Brothers line art, and just good stuff. I don't want to spoil his book. You got to back his book. And then yeah, I read as well. This arrived. So yeah, same thing. Aaron was on our show, grabbed his book, and 2 weeks later, again art by Jose Garcia. And I really digged it. I'm gonna have to read it again. I whipped through it really quickly, but I thoroughly enjoyed this book. Again, I consume everything. So yeah, as soon as I got that, I think I read it the first night. So yeah, that's where I'm at. I had a great week. And well, we'll bounce to you, Chris. What do you have for us?
Dude, everybody is holding it up, so I'm gonna join the club. Immortal
Yeah.
Rising.
Nice.
I know last week I held up 3 books. I made it through Aaron Lepresti's Blood Hunters, Wraith of God. It's fantastic. Like absolutely fantastic. And I am about halfway through Immortal Rising. Still have yet to read Alpha Core. I have been also reading Vigilante's Creed by our friend Brent Turner. And these are
Oh wow,
this is so cool. This whole wraparound cover thing that he did.
that is awesome.
Yeah, I think Skunkworks did it. Yeah,
Nice.
it's pretty dope. But and I'm with you, Craig, on this. Like this kind of it's like real soft cover. It's
Yeah,
beautiful. It's
satin.
like yeah, it feels really good. Like you hold it in your hand, and you're like, I don't want to let go.
Yeah.
But also, I would like to just make sure you guys notice my bookmark here. and that's Joe Frankenstein, or well, Joe Frankenstein's book or whatever, and it says, "Read more comics."
Nice.
Cool.
So, dude, Richard, are you
What is going on?
also reading Immortal Rising?
No, but I am reading Core Draft. You know, I saw it.
Nice.
You know, read it right when I first got it. I also got Aaron LePresti's, but I left it in the living room. But I mean, I got you know, I've been getting everything ready with the campaign. But I mean, I got a good reading list, man, because I also got Fiendish 1 and 2. You know what I mean? So I got that. I got Aaron's, and I'm waiting on Jimmy's to come out. Like
Jimmy Riz.
yeah, that
Georgia
Dragon
did
Rage.
too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
dude, that is looking amazing. So much good reading to come out, you know, and all that. So it's
Yeah, there really is.
it's a lot of time, you know.
It's a vibrant market, you know. And before we get into our topics, I was thinking about something today, and you know, like everybody knows that mainstream comic sales are down. Obviously, manga is dominating, but you know, there's really no way for us to track numbers on indie comics. Like individual creators can track their sales or whatever, but there's no way to know. And I you know, I kind of wonder like how much of that gap, you know, all those sales that are lost, you know, from Marvel and DC and Image and IDW and all them, you know, I wonder, you know, just like how much money is being spent, you know, and how many issues are getting into the hands of people, you know, from indie creators. And I bet that it's a pretty big number because it's indies are so easily accessible now, you know, and it's awesome. We're having a blast, all of us.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, there's an excitement. I feel there's excitement when you back a creator, and then you follow him, and you know, you get to see the numbers go up, and it's great. And then the book comes, and then you get to see other people react and talk about it. It's like a book club, you know.
Yeah.
You know, just how we're talking about Andy's book. You know, like I think Andy's book was great, man, especially at the end, because here's what's crazy. I'm like, the dialogue sounds off. Like you know, in my review, I was like, yeah, the dialogue sounds off. Like these characters sound different. And then you get to the end, you're like, oh, I saw what he was doing. That was charming, you know. And it's it's a real fun and charming thing that he did. That I don't know, like indies, you could take a chance like that. If you read the end of it, it's like something you could take a chance on. And then I don't know if a mainstream person would or editor would kind of like give the green light to that. But it's like Andy, you know, he got his fans. They trusted him to crowdfund it, and he delivered. And let me tell you, man, that book, man, it has monsters in there that look amazing. The most beautifulest women I've seen drawn in the last. You know, I might have to hide the book. The wife might hear that stuff. But yeah, she'd be like, "Give me that book." You know, like, what is this about? You know, hide it from your son. You know, but man, like Andy could draw the curvature of a woman, and it's consistent. And like you were saying with Alpha Core, like the inking at the end and at different spots is like it kind of throws you off. But you know, the book's so fun, you just go through it. But Andy is just consistent. It's just greatness. It's just love, passion. And so when you read it, you're just like, oh, this is like we have this you know, we have a passion for these independent comics, and it's a certain feeling that when you're actually reading the book and you're like, oh, this independent creator has that same passion. It's like a connection, and it's you know, you
These
used
books
to
are
get in
made
the
for love.
mainstream,
Yep.
you know. There are some books, like I read Conan from Titan with the Jim Zub run. Hey man, it's just beautiful. It's so easy in the eyes, and oh man, it's just, you know, I literally get that digital so I can read it day one because I live in a small town, and then I'll go and buy it from a comic book store and get it shipped in for my little collection. But you know, it's it got me that interested. People want that. They have this connection, and if you could get that connection, then man, you're in it to win it.
And part of what makes the indie scene, the crowdfunding scene work is the people, the backers, and the people in the chat. So Craig, on the topic of the chat, who's in the chat tonight?
Yeah, so we'll start off with our chat again. Thank you so much for joining us again for another episode of Friday Nights. And yes, here we go. Fritzy Schnitzel's joining us. Savior Fair is everywhere. So yes, thank you for joining us again, Fritzy Schnitzel. I ran into him in Ethan's chat as well. He was
Nice.
worried about me being sensitive to the things. He says, "You say whatever you want. I'm just happy for you to be here."
Nice.
Brent's joining us as well. We're showing his book. He says, "Hail Jabronis." Hail to you as well, Brent. Thank you.
Hail,
for joining
hail.
us. As
Yeah.
Forrest Pubs here again. Richard's joining us again. Thank you so much for joining us. Subscribe to his YouTube. You see him right there. And again, let's support each other. And then
Appreciate that.
Jackknife, as always, our official timekeeper for our
Yep.
show. He's joined us. I think he's been here every single episode.
I think
So
so.
cool.
He lets us know when to start and when to stop, and we never listen to him.
Tevin
That's
Daniels
hilarious.
joining us. Thank you so much for joining us.
What's up,
Tevin's
what's up?
cool, man. Tevin's an upcoming writer himself that's been, hanging out around my channel, and I'm
Nice.
glad that he got to go on this channel because I don't stream every day, and there's always time to rewatch shows or catch it live. I know he's a big, the biggest Problem fan, but now he knows this to come back to it. It's in his history. And
Nice.
if he doesn't, I'll hit him up on Twitter, like, "Hey man, you got to put in at least like 20 minutes, man." So,
No, I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
yeah.
Vulcan Lives is here. He says, "Happy Fridays, dudes." Thank you as well, Vulcan Lives, for your dedication to the show. We really appreciate it. Here's one that shocked me. Surprise. Nick Weiser is joining us.
Nick
324.
Weiser!
Yes, thank you so much.
Thanks, Nick.
And yeah, that's everyone we have so far in our
Dude,
chat.
The first time I ever saw Nick Weiser's profile picture, it was on Twitter. And that exact font was the font for a number in my first band when I was a teenager, Cork 74. And so when I saw that font, I was like, whoa, that's crazy. Speaking of crazy, it's that time, fellas.
All right,
Is it?
Richard, mark your time, mark your clock here. We've got about 30 minutes before he gets too loopy to stream.
Okay, so we're at 6:15.
All right.
All right.
So here we go.
So Craig, what is this? What's going on here?
Okay, so yeah, our first topic here tonight's brought you from Euro News Culture, and this one here, menu signed by Mao Zedong, sold for €250,000 at auction. The irony behind that, right? The one step forward, 40 to 80 million people die of famine, and he sells this menu for €250,000. I wonder how many people that could have fed, but.
Yeah, so Richard, the Great Leap Forward under Chairman Mao in the early 1950s, 45 million people died of starvation. How crazy is it that a menu signed by this guy is going for auction? How crazy is that?
Well, like when you say the name Mao Zedong, it sounds like a porno name for a cat or something,
Right, it is.
Like Mao Zedong.
That's where he got it.
So it's it is. And then I mean, imagine how many people were affected by this guy, how much
Still.
pain and generations being affected by him. So to get a menu signed by him is like,
Yeah, for a guy who's anti-capitalist, it's kind of wild to think that people are willing to spend that much money to get his. So Chris, take a look at that menu there. What CGC rating would you give that menu there?
That's definitely, well, I don't know. I'm thinking I'm gonna say
CGC there when they signed it though, because it's not official if they're not.
Right. I'm gonna say it's a 7.5. And
7.5.
the receipt for the transaction should be stapled to Mao's corpse.
I think his corpse. I think his corpse is on display in a crystal sarcophagus.
Yes.
I could be wrong.
It is.
I could be
Just
wrong.
like Lenin.
So Craig, my comic book shop, there's this one guy who spends too much, and he like hides every Wednesday. He's a Wednesday warrior like myself. Every Wednesday, he's got to hide his comic books in the trunk when he drives home, because otherwise his wife will get mad. How mad would your wife be if you spent $250,000 on a menu?
on a mouse on Chairman Mao, she would definitely there'd be a sit down.
A sit down. Yes.
No, it's insanity. Yeah, I don't get, like, some people just got way too much money on their hands, and to have that kind of money and be like, hey, I'm gonna buy the, one of the fathers of communism. I need that signature, but
Yeah, man. What? Like,
Absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy.
That's money laundering involved, man. Like, you hear about these fine art, and then it's like they buy it off them, and then this and this, and then they donate it to a museum, and they say, oh, now it's worth $275,000, so I'm gonna need a receipt because I'm donating it to you, and then they take it off on their taxes. This is all just
money laundering.
All right.
Yeah, man.
All right. So as indie creators, none of us are bankrolled or owned by the Chinese Communist Party. So we are free to say things like this. And Chairman Mao, under his rule, about 100 million people were killed in China. So before we go to the next topic, I do want to ask you, Chris, when is Chairman Mao's dentist appointment?
At 2:30.
All right, Craig, what's next?
Okay, so our next topic for this evening here, we've got this one I got from Fox News 35 from Orlando. Florida man who received Waffle House tattoo arrested after refusing to pay for it in the affidavit. So essentially, got the tattoo and then flipped out his pockets. He had no money. They tried to work it out with him that maybe he could pay later if he could prove he had money in his bank. He never had the money in his bank. Never had any intention of paying from the get-go.
Hold on. There's a reason he didn't have any money in his bank. Jeremy Renner suffered a terrible accident recently, and I don't know why he's out getting a tattoo or why he's in Florida, but apparently he's a big fan of Waffle House. Obviously, his Avengers gig isn't paying off very well, but I'm glad to see that Jeremy Renner is out there not paying his bills.
So Richard, this is a complicated legal entanglement, and I did my research, and I checked to see did the Code of Hammurabi cover a scenario like this, because we're all familiar with an eye for an eye. We're all familiar with the principle that if an architect's house collapses and kills the occupant, you kill the architect. I looked to see did Hammurabi cover a delicate scenario like this where there was a tattoo and the person didn't want to pay for it. I came up with nothing. So Richard, as our guest, use your wisdom of use the wisdom of Solomon here. What should be the punishment for this young man?
I don't see a punishment. I say it should be the next Mike Barron cover.
Oh.
Yeah, I say get Mike Barron on the phone. Like, hey, listen. And then, have him come on as a guest, and we're going to use your likeness. And once we raise 250, or we meet our goal, we'll pay off for your tattoo. I think it could be, that's what a capitalist would do. Like, let's make an event out of this. We got to do something, I
am hoping that in issue 3 of Florida Man, he does get a Waffle House tattoo.
Yeah.
So Craig, I saw the headline, and I know we picked this as the topic. It wasn't until just now that I really take it. I see a photo of the tattoo, and I'm looking at the craftsmanship and the draftsmanship of that tattoo. Do you think the guy has a point in not wanting to pay for that kind of work?
Still, there's multiple faults with this. So for starters, as a tattoo artist, they should know you always get half up front and half after the job. That's the same thing with any artist, right? Half up front, half after. So that's a failure on his part. Next question is, why Waffle House Tattoo to begin with? That was like losing strategy out the gate. I don't know, that's one of those places I only stop by like at a truck stop to go get fuel, and I wouldn't go out of my way to go to a Waffle House, let alone get a Waffle House tattoo. But then to get it and not pay for it after all said and done, or not even have the money to pay for it in the first place. I don't know. I'm a capitalist. There's a lot of people fault to go around for that. A lot of lessons to be learned for that. Like, I don't know. Only thing I can think of is lots of blame to go around.
Dude, as someone that has several tattoos that were gotten in the living room floor of my apartment when I was 18. I can understand why he got a Waffle House tattoo, because you know what, man? Like, he lives in Florida, so he knows the importance. What Waffle House closes, that means disaster is imminent. You know, they are the largest warning sign for hurricanes in Florida. People don't understand how important Waffle House is to the community in where he lives, you know, and he's just saying, I'm here to save lives. I shouldn't have to pay for it.
Right.
I like it. That's like an alarm system, like the towers. Or
yeah, exactly. Exactly. Gondor calls for aid.
All right, Craig, what's the third topic today?
Okay, yeah, we're whipping through these tonight. Okay, so the third one, we might dwell on this one for a little while, because this one developed as I built this one. So it originally came out from Bleeding Fool, but as I was posting this, more transpired. So the original article from Bleeding Fool, comic writer Mark Waid accuses Mark Millar of attacking Gail Simone. So of course, right, first came the name calling, the belittling, the insulting. Penny Parker's writing a book. You see there the cover. I'm going to grab a copy because I'm really curious to read it.
That's gonna be fun. That's gonna be fun.
Sort of a mock-up of Generation Kill, which was a fun series I actually enjoyed watching. But in any case, she's putting this out, an expose on the Whisper Network, and of course, mainstream pros are absolutely losing it, right? So Mark Millar, people don't know, he's I think he's responsible for Kick-Ass. I think that's one of his biggest.
Kick-Ass, Wanted, Jupiter's Legacy, Starlight, then the Marvel Civil War, the original Ultimates run, and then he did the second wave of the Authority. And
so, in other words, he has screw you money.
Yes,
and he's a big exec at Netflix, so I was going to add as well. So I mean, he doesn't even have to get involved in comics. He's just doing this because of his love of comics. He's decided to get down and
he'll put out 2 or 3 like miniseries a year, but he gets top talent. He gets great artists to work on it, like Frank Quietly and so forth. And so he loves comic books. That's why he still keeps a toe in it. But like he does have the Netflix bought the Millarverse, and they're adapting, you know, his catalog of books as a Netflix series. So he's doing this for the love of the medium.
Right. So as this was transpiring, you know, a whole bunch of came out the woodwork. I think this is like the third week we've now covered this topic because it's just not ending. You know, I had Donnie Cates making a hammer analogy, Heidi McDonald coming out and slinging her mud, Gail Simone, you know, crying victim over this book, and you know, all the pros trying to pretend like they never really tried to cancel and Whisper Network and conspire. No, it was never any of that. We're all just victims of you mean customers who don't like anything that we create, no matter how hard we try to entertain.
Bigots. All of you are bigots.
It's always the customer with them. Always the customer.
So as I was putting this together, Mark put an interesting one, and I blew up that tweet right here. So he was responding to this Stephen McKee, and he says, I think a lot of us would just rather see the industry burn down, which is a shocking revelation to come out. Rather see it burn down than get together with the alt-right. Okay, sure. So basically, admission of guilt. But,
before we get to his, so I do want to mention he had a backpedaling statement, or he had an additional statement that really makes this even more bizarre. But what? So Chris, I'm going to run this. Here's I want to run this by you, and this. There's something to what I'm about to say. Exactly, there's something to what I'm about to say. I don't know if I'm onto something or not. But if you make a categorical statement, saying, which is basically an either or statement, and the either or statement is either I'm going to change, I'm going to listen, I'm going to do what these customers are asking me to do, or I'm going to let the industry sink. So facto, does that not mean that the people who are asking you to do something a certain way have the majority of the money and are abstaining from buying your products? isn't that actually what he's saying without realizing it?
Yes. That's actually what I was going to bring up is that statement alone shows what we have all speculated and honestly what we know is that they are destroying it on purpose. They're like they have all of these IPs, everything at Marvel and DC, and then all the other nerd IPs, Star Trek, Star Wars, everything. They would rather see it burn and don't do the gaslight, rather than work with the alt right. Nah. You would rather see it burn than actually listen to the customer base, the fan base that has been following for decades and decades and decades. And not only that, but to just wipe away all of the source material as well, because like this statement that he's made is pretty much saying like, I don't care what anybody. I mean, I don't care what Jack Kirby ever wrote, because the thing is that's the stuff that we love, and he's just like, I am the god of this industry, and you will bow, or I will burn it.
You're right that we love it, and so Craig, you love comic books, and you're a father.
Right.
Looking at Mark Waid here, he's late middle age, childless. Is this a cautionary tale for people to not become so obsessed with something that you don't have a balance in life? Like you don't have a family, you don't have children, you have no legacy. No, besides your work, you have no legacy beyond your work. Is this a cautionary tale for people about not over intellectualizing and not having? Is this an argument for having family, Craig?
Well, okay, so, oh man, there's so much to unpackage with this. So for starters, I want to address one thing Crooked Painter said up here. So Mark Waid's version of the alt-right is anyone who doesn't vote the same way he votes. Okay, it's a generalized brush he applies to anyone.
Which is a very totalitarian, authoritarian thing to say in the first place, right?
Right. You either think the way I think, believe the way I think, don't criticize what I put out, and don't disagree with me, or you're alt-right. Yes. So no, it's not actual Nazis. I mean, I very rarely see actual Nazis this day. I haven't seen them since the 90s.
Dude,
But
honestly, I can count on one hand how many Nazis I've seen in real life in my 42 years of life. And
Right.
never mind, I'm going to shut up.
I love it
We're
when
on YouTube.
I love it when Captain America punches commies, and I love it when he punches Nazis. Go
That's
ahead,
right.
Craig. Go ahead, Craig.
Yeah.
Okay, so tying into Mark Millar and his hissy fit and all the other ones and all their hissy fits. So what they've done is they've taken an industry that was built for 50 years. They took IPs that didn't belong to them, that they had a responsibility to nurture, much like a parent does with a father, raise it properly, raise it with morals, good and evil, keep it sacred and grow it. Like, as we like to say, leave things better than they were the way you found it. But instead of that, these fatherless, politically motivated, authoritarian, my way or the highway, agenda-driven people took an industry that was built long before they got there, decided to not bother to do any of the research or the work or get to learn or love the thing that they were handed because they were all inserted into the industry. Just did whatever they wanted, you know what I mean? Turned it into a joke, actually attacked their own customers and fan base because to them, they're indifferent to how money is made because they get paid anyway, so they don't care. Chased away half the fan base, then put out a crappy product that then further alienated the fan base. And then listening to the fan base, try to fight for the things they love and try to give valid criticism and try to say, hey, what are you doing to the things we love? We've loved these things for 20, 30, 40, 50 years. Then it further insulted them, which is where we are now today. With it all crumbling. But rather than them accept any responsibility whatsoever, they still continue to point fingers and blame it on everybody but themselves. So
I want to shoehorn in one observation before we go to Richard. there's a subsequent a tweet from Mark Waid where he basically says, even though those loudmouth alt-right CG people have a lot of good points, I still don't like them. So he's admitting that the criticism, a great portion of the criticism is valid. He just did not like some of the people. He didn't like some of the personalities of the people who were telling him, but he agrees intellectually. He agrees they have good, valid points. He didn't quantify what percentage he agreed with, but the point is, he is saying, I agree, you've got a valid point, you are correct, but I'm not going to take your suggestion because I don't like you. Richard, what are your thoughts? What are your observations? What do you think?
I think it's performance art because, like, I went to WonderCon, I want to say like 2014, 15. And back before I even did a comic, I would go to these, indie comics and this and that. And one of the panels they had was for comicology. So I was like, oh, dude, I got to go to this. How do I get my stuff on comicology, And so I went there, and it was the head of comicology. This is before they went to Amazon, right? And Mark Waid was there. And then Mark Waid was just talking about, yeah, the mouse is going to get everything. The mouse, this is before Disney owned it, or just got Marvel. So he's always been, it seems like it's a control thing, So, oh, the mouse is this, the mouse is that. And it was so crazy, him speaking about the mouse, that the comicology guy's like, comicology has always had a great relationship with Disney, and we hope to continue. You know what I mean? He had to get the PR speech right there. So I was like, holy fuck, they're shook. So it's like, it seems that this whole play, this whole performance of I'm the right, or I'm the good guy, the alt-right has got him power. And the louder he screams it, and now that power is being relinquished from him. And so now he's throwing a tantrum like a baby. That's how I see it. It's just from that interaction to this interaction to, even bringing up the points that, customers have money, they're just putting it in their pockets or spending it elsewhere. CG does have some good points, but you're not willing to give any ground. That it's a man holding on to power, or the power that he thinks he has, but he really doesn't, because the power is always with the customer.
Mm-hmm. And in terms of power being with the customer, Chris, would you agree that you don't expect every comic book published to categorically appeal to every one of your tastes, but you don't want to be called names. You don't want to have the publisher engaged in ad hominem attacks on you just because you like a certain kind of comic book, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, honestly, like, I read comics for the same reason anybody else reads comics. I just want to get lost in a story. I read books, I play video games, all those entertainment things are because I work 60 hours a week, and I want to be able to turn my brain off and send myself to another world, and if I'm getting beat over the head with some kind of crazy message, or I'm being called names, talked down to, I mean, I don't know if you want to radicalize me, but well, I mean, too late, but what. I mean, but that's really what it comes down to is like, okay, look, Mark Waid, we get it. You are a lonely, spiteful, cat lady, sitting at home, probably you're sniffing your markers.
Probably high blood pressure. I see high blood pressure.
Sure, and you're miserable. I don't want you to project your misery into your stories. Well, actually, go ahead. I'm not reading your stories. Go ahead. Other miserable people might be into that, but your sales say otherwise.
So I am actually, when it comes to his work up until maybe like 10 years ago, I am a huge Mark Waid fan. I've got his Daredevil run back there. I've got his Fantastic Four run back there. When I read his work, oftentimes I connect with him, and I share his love of the medium and his love of some of these characters. And when he's firing on all cylinders, he's firing on all cylinders. And I don't care at all how he votes. I don't care. I don't, and I don't want him to know how I vote. It doesn't matter. But what I observed happening over the last, and perhaps because he was so intimately involved with All New, All Different Marvel, and because that was such a meltdown, he may have doubled or tripled down. But what began to happen around the time of All New, All Different Marvel was, I think, it's the phenomenon of the intellectual who loves humanity. I love humanity. I'm an intellectual. I love humanity, but I really hate people. I really hate people. Craig, are you picking up that vibe? Are you a fan of his earlier work? Where does he sit with you?
I'll be honest. I'm not even sure if I have any Mark Waid stuff, so I'm kind of glad I haven't called his name from anything in any of my short boxes, so I'm lucky there. No, I mean, just looking at this just as it's more so the greater picture of it, and remembering what happened between him and Richard C. Meyer. So if you're not aware, Mark Waid went away for a little while, right?
Yeah.
He came out hard against Richard C. Meyer. Richard C. Meyer was about to be published, I want to say, Antarctic Press. Correct me if I'm wrong, that's who it was. Basically sent a night letter to them telling them that this guy is this and that, and a bunch of names, all the names they like to throw out, the ones that he's still throwing out. And then he got slapped with a lawsuit, which a lot of people crowdfunded and paid money.
Restraint of trade, right? Or was was it tortoise interference? Tortious entertainment and restraint of trade, right?
Yes.
I like tortoise interference. It's funny.
Yeah, tortoise interference.
And it's still questionable how that would have went if it went full ways, but obviously whatever transpired, Zach decided to settle, and then they both settled, and they released their statements, and away they went. Mark obviously didn't learn anything from that experience, because here he is, he's still back to his old tricks, still back to his name calling. That's basically all I know about Mark Waid, to be honest with you, is that, and then here he is again.
Why can't these people, like any of, even like, no matter, even you, Jason, even you, Craig, or whatever, why do I have to know every detail about what you think about every single thing in the whole world? Just write
social media,
a story.
Right?
Yeah.
And I get it in the modern world, like we use social media and we use this platform, and things like that. And we try to get to know you guys and let you get to know us. But like you don't have to comment on everything. And if you hate somebody, if you despise, whether it's your customer or another creator, one of your peers or anything like that, shut your mouth and just outright them, outdraw them, out whatever.
So it's the same way, like, especially a military background. I mean, there's, a couple of us have military backgrounds around the chat. I mean, I've been in troops with people who I don't get along with, and leaders I absolutely don't like and I hate. But at the end of the day, you have a responsibility to do the mission. And it's like, look, even if we don't like each other, we have a professional responsibility to accomplish the mission. Let's just worry about this, get along and get our mission done. And at the earliest possibility, we'll all go our separate ways, right? It's just basic respect in life. That's why we have laws. It's fine to work beside somebody who you don't like. What it is you can't discriminate against them. You can't attack them. You can't go out of your way to, you know what I mean? So I don't know where we got in this society where we've gotten into these groups where now if you're not in my group and you don't think what I say, you don't believe what I say, you must be destroyed. Like the entire concept is insanity. And it reminds me of, I keep going back to kindergarten, right? And being in the sandbox, and there's a toy you want to play, and other kids call you stupid names and throw sand in your face, and fighting over toys. This is literally where we've gone as a society. We've regressed to childish behavior. I'm watching politicians do it now too. The name calling and the mudslinging. And I mean, these people are making $200,000, $300,000 a year, and they're supposed to be running things, but they would rather be on social media, throwing mud and basically back to high school cliques in the cafeteria and you know the cool kids table and no one else is allowed to be there.
Bring back dueling.
Right.
So, Richard, before we get into your project, what have you observed in terms of the idea of when did you first become aware of these are creators that are trying to stop other creators from working in the business or expressing themselves and so forth? What did you see, and when did it occur to you something was rotten?
Well, this is let me just touch this and then I'll answer that. It's with this. It seems like a lot of these people, they're making it about them instead of making it about the character, right?
The
Because
mission,
Mhm.
the greater good.
it's about Superman. It's about Daredevil. It was never about you, and their fucking little ego can't figure that out. It's always been about the character. You listen to Stan Lee; he talks about the character and the Hulk and this and that. When I came up with it, and he gets so excited about the character, it's never about Stan.
And guess
You know?
what? I
Hmm?
never knew who Stan Lee voted for, and
Exactly.
I never wanted to know.
Yeah. It was just this is listen, I got this great idea for a story and this and that, and you're gonna love it in this character, and he has so much compelling and he has so many obstacles. They took a job, an employment, a situation, what have you, uh, uh to make it about the character, and they failed at it. They made it about themselves. We don't care about Mark Waid. We care about the characters that he's on, and
Mhm.
give us a good story within that character. And if you do that, then you deserve the audience's praise. But they're trying to compete with the character, and they'll never compete with the character. And another thing too, I've seen this with hip hop, where they only want to make club songs, you know. And listen, I love club songs, but I love that underground stuff. Like, but
Mhm.
I don't want to hear Immortal Technique at the fucking strip club. So I understood a purpose of having these club songs, you know. But I just wanted it to be a variety. Yeah, if you want to have the LGBT and this and that, that's cool. Have it, but you know, have it in addition over there. Don't change these characters, you know, because again, it's not about you. It's not about your cause. It's about the character, and that's what's
Legacy.
really. People have a
Mhm.
relationship with the character. They can give a fuck about the rest, right? Now, that relationship sometimes goes a little bit further if we have an artist that does a great run. You know, if we have a writer that really like spoke to the character, really did the character justice, then they become somewhat of a hero. But even then, it was never about them. It was only that they did the character justice. You know, and that's where I think it comes off. You know, and that's where I think uh, they're they're in a competition that they can't win because their ego will never satisfy us. We don't care about them; they're not interesting. We care about the talents and the character.
Mhm.
Well
So
So
All
I don't know
right.
if we want to beat this one anymore. I mean,
I
it's
think
it's
we're done.
ongoing. It's
Nah,
still
man.
going, but
Like-
just the interesting thing is watching people are fighting back. Like the name calling
Yeah.
isn't working anymore. It's same thing with politics and stuff. People are fed up.
they're
If
retreating.
if you're not already a Mark Millar fan, go check out his work because he doesn't need the money, but to whatever extent you're able to show a little bit of support. Obviously, you want to go to your LCS and pick up a book. Go pick up some back issues from your LCS. Pick up some Mark Millar books, just to begin to send a signal as vote with your dollars.
Dude.
Vote with your dollars because we've made this comment before that we all have our theories, we all have our opinions, but at the end of the day, what actually fixes the market will be discovered through the profit and loss observed and experienced by
Mhm.
the retailers, right? We can spend all day thinking what Marvel could do or should do. Same thing for DC. They are going to do what they're going to do. The retailers are the ones who are going to have to navigate these this rocky passage. So support them to whatever extent you can. If you got a crowdfunded book that you love, show it to them. And maybe they can get some of those in. But ultimately, the retailers are going to have to navigate their way through it. You just have to be there to vote with your dollar.
That's right.
Definitely.
Yep.
All
Dude,
right.
Richard, I want
Yes,
to know
sir.
about your book.
Yes. So
You want
before
me to bring it up?
Before we
I-
start coming into you, Richard, we're going to play your trailer first for the audience. So
Okay.
here we have the trailer for Blood and the Sword.
Yeah, cool,
Very
cool.
nice.
Yeah, Blood of the Sword, it starts with me campaigning the Last Goodbye. Last Goodbye was one of the first comics I ever wrote, and I brought it to crowdfunding, right? And I was able to, back when I was selling it at the conventions, like I mentioned, the WonderCon, I was selling it just the inks. So I was like, you know what? I got this art. Let me get it colored and let me do this crowdfunding thing. Because if all goes wrong, I still have the inks. I still have the art, and it was a little bit more security than trying to go out and do a new project and it falling. Because I've got projects that have failed, prior to even crowdfunding, where it's like, hey, the artist falls through or doesn't fall through or doesn't come through, and then I paid the money up front and then I didn't get it, and then it's like, okay, I saved the money, and then it's just a lot of crazy stuff, this independent comic game, but that was a success. And then I was like, okay, I feel that I got the people's trust. So I brought out a Western comic book called Devil from Talonflats. Now, Devil from Talonflats, it didn't. It's when everyone wasn't really fulfilling their campaigns on time. So it's like, you know what? I was hearing when this gets back, you got my support. If this gets back, or if you get funded, you got my dollar. And I'm like, I need your dollar now for this to get funded. So it was Craig knows the deal, man. That's how it was, man. And it's like, okay, the game changed. You know what I mean? The game evolves, and I didn't get mad and blame CG. I didn't get mad and blame the customers. I'm just like, okay, let me figure it out. So one day I'm playing Conan, and the Conan, the online game, and this alligator's attacking me, and my daughter's watching it because how you can make little thralls and stuff. So I was like, okay, this one's you, and then she just following me. She's like, that's me. I'm like, yeah, that's you. Come on with that. We're gonna go collect stuff. So this alligator's attacking me, and she's like, I'm like killing it. She's like, don't kill the alligator, Dad. It's my friend. I'm like, it's not your friend, because she thinks every animal is her friend. I'm like, it's not your friend. And then I'm like kind of frustrated. And I'm being sarcastic with her. I was like, if it's your friend, what's its name? And she said Mango. And then boom, it was just like fireworks in my head. Oh my God, a humanoid alligator companion with sword and sorcery. And and I'm like, okay, so what happens? And then she starts telling me, because my daughter, she loves telling stories. She has this crazy imagination, and that's how what came with Blood in the Sword. So I had the idea, but I was like, how do I do this? How do I do this? And I know, you know what? The only way to do it is to have it completed. Have it completed, because then I have full confidence of the customer. How do I do that? I'm going to make it 20 pages because I can pay that out of pocket, right? How else do I do it? I know that I need to gain and raise money. How else can I do it? So I started looking into shirt printing, and then I bought shirt printing equipment. So now I can do everything in house. I get other than print the comics. So I get the comics printed. I print each shirt, and then I'm good to go. And my goal was like, you know what? What if I took money out of the equation? I just want you to read my book, because I know if you read my book, you're going to like my book, and then you're going to read my second book, and then you're going to read my third book. And if I could take money out of this equation, or where it's never an issue, where it's only $5, would you do it? So basically, I wanted to do a gamble. I bet you $5 that my book is enjoyable. And that seems like a reasonable bet, And I also put it up there for digital. So because a lot of the things too is, man, shipping overseas. I remember last goodbye I had one, thank God, and I appreciate this person in Australia for buying it, but I had one shipper over there, and they actually, I totally undercharged it. The shipping came out to like $55, and basically I paid them $20 to read my book. So I was like, this can't happen again. So I was like, you know what? And people are like, I knew that, hey, a 20 pager, I'm not going to pay $5 and then 35. That's $35, $40 for so I do have it available if you want it. But if you just want to get the digital, and maybe when the collection comes out, you could get that. And another thing I did is I wanted to have the first 5 pages up there with lettering so you can read it. And you know what? I just wanted to do a funny action pack adventure comedy that it has some heart, and it has some characters that have motives, So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna put 5 pages up. You can kind of get the feel of it. If it's something you're into, grab it. And if it's something that's like, let me wait on it, or maybe it's like, I get you on an impulse buy for like $5. Like, hey man, that guy was kind of cool, So I saw him on the stream. Yeah, $5. I'll throw $5 at the guy, Cool, get it. So that's what I was trying to do. So Blood of the Sword is about 2 swordsmen or swords for hire that get meet up with an acquaintance, and they get put on a simple gig, and everything goes wrong, and then the adventure's off and going. So,
dude, so I've been seeing you post about it on Twitter, and and I've been interested, but I'll be honest, I prioritize our guests on this show over anybody else, and so I kind of wait. I watch a campaign, and if it looks like it's going to end before somebody gets booked on our show or whatever, then I'll go ahead and back it and everything. But when I heard that we were going to have you on, I was like, sweet, because I'm really interested in this.
Thank you, Jason. Thank
you for a couple of reasons. Is one, like I've read the first 5 pages, and I love the kind of balance of humor, and this could totally be a buddy comedy.
That's what I wanted.
Yeah,
I wanted 80 cops. 80 cops film. It has that feel, that banter, where there's the gentle giant, and he plays it straight, but his heart, his heart is gold. He plays it straight. He has dry humor. He's funny, but he's very dry humor. And then Valen, he's just, man, he's one of those guys that's arrogant, but he gets it done. And I seen people in that. Like, I compare it to like someone like a Mayweather, where it's like, dude, this guy's so arrogant, but he gets it done, and people hate him for it. Like a John Jones, he's so arrogant, but he gets it done. So that's what I wanted, and someone that's just good at their stuff. So.
Dude, and that's, I mean, it's totally how it seems, but the thing is, is like a lot of times we save our backings for whenever the guest comes on.
Yeah.
So I definitely backed you, and I can't wait for that T-shirt.
Cool.
When you see it on there, I'm not actually a small. I ordered a small because one of the other things that I really like about this book is just kind of the setting. So, as most of our people in our chat know, my son lives in Germany, and indie comics is kind of our way of being able to connect across the ocean, and he is a huge fantasy fan. So anything that's like Sword and Shield and stuff, he's going to be into. So, I had to get the book, and I had to get the shirt. But to our people in the chat, I know I'm going on and on. Yes, the gummy has kicked in. But to the people in our chat, check out that retail bundle. You get 12 issues. Now, I want to issue a challenge to our chat. And if Craig, if you can refresh real fast, and let's see what his number's at. Because I got a challenge for the chat.
Here he's at right now is 95 with 1,570. So I'm just going to jump in there because the gummy's been kicking in. So for starters, I'm interested in the retailer tier as well, right? That's 12 issues. So we talked about this last show. If you have a table, like I'm going to have a table here, I'm gonna run night markets every Thursday, and then I just
Yeah.
sell books. If I've
That's
got
cool. Make money
11
off it,
copies of
man.
your book,
Yeah.
yeah, I'll throw them on my
Yeah.
table, and if
And I'll
people
tell you
buy
why I did it, right? Because I was
yeah,
like, okay, I can do it 10, because it's
yeah,
like, like here's another strategy that I had to realize and that I had to strategize.
yeah,
Is like, you got the big guys, the EVSs, the Andy Smiths, all them, right? Uh, they can afford to have boutique items because they have
mhm,
earned that right to. I'm not that status. So what can I do to help out me myself and the customers, right? So I was
yeah,
like, if I just kept it one cover and printed a shitload, I could sell it for $5 and still make $3 off it,
Mhm.
and that
nice.
and my goal is to get as many readers as I can. So when I was like, okay, so if I get two, right, it's 12, so it's basically uh you're paying for the two. If you sell those, that covers shipping, because shipping's going to be like $10, right? And then you
Mhm,
have 10 copies to sell, and you basically got those at like 2 a piece, so you can sell it for 5 and still, because
make your
it's like
money
at
back.
that, I'm kind of just, I'm making like 50 cents an issue, but
Mhm,
Mhm.
I'm getting the readers and retailers are making money. And if you have that night market, you're out there like, hey, check out this book, check out this book. Because if you sell that, you make money. It's not just breaking even.
yep.
So
So that's where I'm so I haven't backed yet. I've got to get in and look at the shipping, but I will back tonight. So I promise
sure,
you,
sure,
I just had to say that. If worst case, I'm just going to grab the digital. It's $5 for the digital. Everyone who's out
yeah,
there,
Mhm.
just $5 is all you got to throw out there to push this. I'd love to see this go from 95 to 100 backers. That would be insane. So you want me to hit that refresh button already? You said,
Yeah, go
Chris?
ahead and hit the refresh, and then I'll issue the challenge
All right.
because I
So
gotta know.
we'll see what happens already here on this show. Magical things happen on this show, and
yeah,
let's see.
cool.
Oh, it's hold on. Oh,
So close.
99.
That's so awesome. Thank you, guys.
Oh,
Thank you.
yeah. We're gonna hit
Nice.
100. We're gonna hit
99,
100. Okay, so
dude,
what's
for
the
sure.
challenge you got, Chris?
Yeah.
That's
So
cool.
okay, so the challenge is, and
Yeah.
I'm sure that some of you in the chat have backed, but I
Well,
was
they
gonna
obviously did.
say
Yes, thank you so
if
much.
if 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 we can get 10 more backers by the time I wake up in the morning, then
Right.
I'll back the I'll back the retail bundle as well.
And
But
people, he works 60 hours a week. He's
I
going to be
do,
sleeping in late. Okay,
yeah,
keep going, Chris.
yeah. But anyways, on top of that, if you back that retail bundle, and then I challenge every single one of you that does this to take those extra issues to your LCS and see if they will put them on
Ooh.
their shelves.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Keep 2, take 10 up to your LCS, see if they'll put them on the shelves. Help Richard out. That would just be dope.
That would be awesome, because the goal is to get readers,
Yes.
That's why it's
So
like, even with digital, right? If I don't encourage it because I want my backers to have money, but if people were to get it, upload it, all that, whatever, and I come across new readers that way, it's a win, man. It's a win. I'm just trying to entertain, and I feel like if people like my stuff and read it and they enjoy it, then they'll come back to it. They'll because I'm only trying to get better. I'm only trying to entertain. Like this 20 it's 20 pages, but it's like a pilot episode of what's to come. So you kind of know where everyone is, where everyone stands, and then issue 2 is already written. I'm waiting to send these all out, and then I start the paying off Brian to start drawing it again. And with that, stuff's gonna happen, man. Don't think this is, there's action, but it's I mean, if you read The Last Goodbye, you're like, you'll see that, oh wow, he is capable of being a dark a dark writing individual, because it's that's pretty gritty in itself, so yeah, man. It's, even though my daughter came up with the character for Mango, which is always funny because she's like, people are like, if you don't buy me a car, Dad, I'm gonna relinquish my my rights to Mango, and you're not gonna, she's gonna take away her licensing rights and stuff.
That's
So
funny.
we got to negotiate. But yeah, I mean, like issue 2 is gonna be just as action packed, if not more. And
Awesome.
I like to, when I write my stories, everything matters. Like, because I went to film school, right? And the instructor said, listen, write every page like it costs $300,000, because that's how much it's going to cost for everyone to come in, everyone to set up, everyone to craft. And if that ain't worth it, it ain't worth it, man. So yeah. So that's where I kind of like, I took that to, I got to pay for this page. You know what I mean? I need to make it worth it. And with that, it helps me as a writer, but it also the true reward goes to the reader. So I'm happy for that.
Richard, thank you so
Yes,
much
sir.
for coming on. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
And those of you in the chat, you heard Chris Faction's challenge.
Yep.
Let's do this. And I hope you come back, sir. Hope you come back.
Oh, cool. Sure.
So Craig, there's no jackknife. Why don't you do one last shout out?
Oh, we made it.
Yeah.
That's right.
100.
Yo,
Nice.
So I didn't want to
Sweet.
say anything, dude. That's shipping a little bit expensive, but I had no problem. And I'll move those books.
Oh,
to
yeah.
the markets. So
Where
there
are you in
go,
Canada?
100.
Are you
Yeah,
in
yeah.
Canada?
Yeah, People's
Yeah.
I'll take
Republic
care
of
of you.
Canada,
I'll throw
yeah.
some extra books. I'll take care of you, man.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So look,
Yeah, I didn't know you're.
100.
Man, I love it.
Yeah,
Don't
I
hold
love it.
against me.
I love it. Cool,
Heck
cool.
yeah.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Thank
Hey,
you
I
so
gotta
much
say,
for-
man, I like your show, man. This is cool. This is like one of my favorite indie shows now,
Nice.
because no one's
Yeah.
talking over everyone. You have someone that's delegating. It's like I don't want to say MSNBC, but like a news thing, where they're
Late
like,
night talk
they
show.
have someone
Well,
with
Jason,
guidance.
Is it like
You
the
know.
good old days of the McLaughlin Report?
Yeah, I like that.
Jason
Yeah.
actually has electrodes hooked up to my chair, so
Oh, okay.
I have to do what he says.
I just have shame and guilt issues. Like, it's always about you, Richard.
All right.
Always have to interrupt.
Richard, I love following you on Twitter.
Thank
the
you.
kindness tour rolls on.
Yes,
Please continue to spread the words about the Friday nights, and we will see
yes,
you back
definitely.
sometime. And then Craig, I don't know what kind of madness you have up your sleeve this week, because every week I don't know what to expect. But sir,
How we rolling out?
Take
Okay,
us-
so
go
before
ahead.
we're gone, I just want to say thank you so much to the chat. Thank you so much, everyone who pushed this thing over 100 backers tonight. Thank you again, Jason, Chris. Thank you so much for joining us, Richard. Again, everyone
you.
in the chat. Friday nights, we're here every Friday night, 9 p.m. Eastern, and we're going to keep the show rolling. So I couldn't find anything on Mark Waid, but I found the guy whose chair you took at a convention, Jason.
Oh no!
Figured we just outros with a little bit of another Mark. So with the Marks that I know, we're going to outro with him, and I hope everyone has a killer weekend. And thank you so much for joining me.
Let's go. Bring it. So we're going to play a game here. Before you answer, we're going to play a game. The game is called Stupid or Liar. So either you were too stupid to realize what I would type was sarcastic, or you're going to say you didn't realize it was sarcastic and you're lying. So pick one.
Stupid.
Everything is stupid. Everything is stupid. I think the mark. Everything is stupid. Or taking just Mr. Mark not to drop, but prefers to break the lines and the lines. He is mad all the time. He's seen alcoholic or maybe psychotic. If you watch very quick, look at his sticker from the scene. Everything's stupid. Everything's stupid. I hit the mark. Everything's stupid. It's important to run. 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, what to do? Everybody's rules. Changes, everybody's stupid. I have it on mark. Used to be handsome. Used when I crazy that Charles Manson. Told you and I see it. Had the opportunity to question everything, including masculinity. He told you toxic like a real thing. And that's not a story for us. He's the employee. 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 He's the employee.
You look like teenage Nazi Santa.
I'm very much a Nazi, aren't I? Sure.
Hey, you said it.
Yeah.
You said it.
You called me Nazi Santa Claus before. I must be a Nazi.
Listen, Ethan. Here's the deal.
Everything is stupid. Everything is stupid. Ask it to Mark. Everything is stupid. Or maybe just that.
Bell Red, Moonshine, and Twitless. Micah, Oz, and Liam. Skyver, Ralph, and Klein. Dave, Dollar, TJ, and Java. George, Dip, and Chris. Sheila, Summer, and Saggy. Philip, Dario, and Vic. Nasser, Doug, and Mike.
Listen, sociopath. You narcissistic sociopath. I've told you. I'm not debating you anymore. You want me? Come see me. I got you covered. I got you, my friend. And if I don't ever see you, I'm going to assume it's you who is the coward and the woman. Come see me, my friend. I'm bigger than you, dude.
Yeah, I agree.
I am. Well, I mean, not physically. That's not possible. I don't care about the comments. I'm just sick of him being infatuated with me. Like, get a life, man. He either wants to fight me or fuck me. So it's one or the other. And I'm going to assume he wanted to fuck me. So just bring it, you know? I'm so sick of this bullshit. I'm so sick of this. I'm like, all right, you know, I'm just going to welcome it. Bring it. I've been in enough fights in my life out in the open. You know? You know what? Bring it. It seems like that's what he wants. Just come on. Like, get a life, man. He either wants to fight me or fuck me. Fight me or fuck me. Come on. Fight me or fuck me. Come on. Fight me or fuck me. Come on. But if he wants to, let's go.
Yes.
Bring it.
Yes.
Let's go.
Yes.
Bring it.
Yes.
I could go fuck myself or fuck you, Mark Brooks. He either wants to fight me or fuck me. Fight me or fuck me. Come on. Fight me or fuck me. Come on. Fight me or fuck me. Come on. You know, I think I was pretty clear. I have no interest in talking to or dealing with this dude. He either wants to fight me or fuck me. Fight me or fuck me. Come on. Fight me or fuck me. Come on. Fight me or fuck me. Let's go. We can go back into a back alley in one of the conventions and we'll handle it mano a mano, him and I. Because I'm sick of this shit. If he wants to, let's go.
Yes.
Bring it.
Yes.
Let's go.
Yes.
Bring it.
Yes.
I could go fuck myself or fuck you, Mark Brooks. He either wants to fight me or fuck me.